What's up, everybody? Nick Cousin here with Fernando Palomares and Chris Montagano, the tournament director for the Evans Scholar Invitational here on the Korn Ferry Tour in Chicagoland next week. The Glen Club in Glenview, Illinois, only a couple miles from my house here in Lincolnwood, Illinois. We're excited. We'll be out there next weekend covering the event. So excited for that big news for the brand here, Tapping Eagle and Cousins Conversations, to be out at a golf tournament. Chris, how we doing this morning, man?
I'm doing really good. Appreciate you guys having me on this morning. Where it's a little smoky here in Chicago.
It is, yeah.
Hopefully that's gonna. I didn't think it was gonna get here. I'm actually from the Detroit area, but it's bad in Detroit, but obviously not until this morning had we seen it in Chicago. So hoping we get it out of here before next week.
And the heat too. It's as hot as Mexico here, Fernando. It's like almost 100 degrees.
Oh, that's lovely. It's
Yeah,
easier
we
to play when it's hot.
yeah, it's toasty, but I think we've got some weather coming through this weekend. I think the forecast looks pretty good next week, so be great. It'll be great.
So, Chris, I'm looking at the website, and it says complimentary admission. So if you're in Chicago, you're in the suburbs. I'm telling people, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Head out to the Glen Club next weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. It's obviously there's so much to do in Chicago, and we just want to be a small part of it. And we've got a great partner in BCU, your community credit union. They have sponsored complimentary admission this year, so general spectators can come on out. We're really requesting that people go to our website to register for those tickets. You can do that on esinvitational.com. But it kind of helps us from a planning standpoint. That said, if you show up without a ticket, you're certainly not getting turned away. The more, the merrier. And we're just excited to have that have this be a free event for people. There's certainly upgraded options, but we've got some really fun stuff going on throughout the week. Obviously we've got some great golf with some of the up and coming stars of golf right here in Glenview. But we've also got a really cool kids zone that we're excited about that's going to be available Thursday through Sunday, as well as a free yoga event. We're going to do yoga on the green on Saturday morning. So another cool event that I think Saturday morning you can come for the yoga and stay for the golf, and we're going to have a lot of stuff for the kids as well.
That's awesome. I love yoga myself. I think it's great for golf. You need a lot of flexibility, a lot of hip mobility. And I was looking at the work that the Western Golf Association has done with the Evans Scholars program, and it's incredible. Like already, like 12,000 alumni have graduated, and a lot of remarkable people like Bob Herrick and a lot of corporate greats. And I was very interested in the story about Chick Evans. I mean, the fact that he won so many tournaments like the U.S. Summer and the U.S. Open in the same year, but with only seven hickory shafted clubs, like how is that even possible?
Yeah, he Chick's got a great story, and I was a club pro before I started working for Western Golf, and we had an Evan Scholar program at the club I worked at, but we had um, so I was a little bit familiar with it, but certainly got a little bit more dialed in being part of the organization. And I think Chick's just an incredible story. I think he gets kind of lost in the weeds a little bit when you think about the top amateurs in the world. Everybody kind of migrates to Bobby Jones, and Chick's probably the top three amateur player to ever play the game, and certainly had an unbelievable track record. But for him to not turn professional and to take his winnings and put him into this program back in 1930, the Evans Scholars program started in 1930 with two caddies at Northwestern University. We now have almost 1,300 caddies in college at 28 partner universities across the country. So the program has truly exploded. I've been a part of the organization for 10 years, and I joke around with people. I feel like we're a startup right now. We're a 100-year-old startup because the growth, the number of people we're able to award this scholarship to is truly remarkable. And as you mentioned, I mean, almost 13,000 people have earned this scholarship since 1930, and so many of them, really since the turn of the century this year. And we just continue to grow the partnerships and provide caddy opportunities to clubs and to individuals across the country, for more opportunities to provide more scholarships. So as it is with all of our tournaments within the Western Golf Association, all of the proceeds from the Evans Scholars Invitational will benefit the foundation. So we're excited for a great week next week.
One of my friends, he benefited from it. He was an Evans Scholar and went to Marquette, so I'm familiar with the program. It's a great program. He definitely enjoyed being part of it. And I'm looking at the list of past champions as well. And I mean, if this doesn't convince you to go out there and see the next great face of the game, I mean, Scottie Scheffler, world number one, Johnny Keefer, who won last year. He is already at the Open this year, playing his first Open. Cam Young, who's won a couple times this year. So what makes this tournament, have some of the best golfers out here? I mean, what are we doing?
It's great. I mean, I just think there's number one. I think the level on the talent level on the Korn Ferry Tour is so good right now. I think more than ever in the last handful of years, you've seen guys come off the Korn Ferry Tour and be able to compete with the guys at the PGA Tour level faster than they ever have. I think. I don't know if it's like these kids have no fear and you feel like you've got kind of nothing to lose. Your goal is to earn your PGA Tour card. But I think some kids, make it to the tour, they get tentative, they don't play their game. And now it's just these guys have this kind of grip it and rip it mentality and kind of hit it and chase it. And, again, I people in the office make fun of me. I've been a huge Scottie guy since obviously he won here in 2019 and, just kind of felt like it was only a matter of time before he was going to get it done. I don't think anybody saw what has happening. But the guy's just an incredible talent, super good person. Cam Young, I mean, he won back-to-back. The year he won here, he actually he won in Kansas City the week before he won in Chicago, and he led after every round of every event. So he basically was leading for 8 weeks in a row. And so he, again, I mean, it's Cam Young at that point was a name that nobody had ever heard of. And that's what I tell people about this is that, a lot of times you're going to come out here and you're going to watch a bunch of people that you've never heard of, but you will. The tour will give away 20 PGA Tour cards at the end of this year, and you're going to get a chance to see those guys. I think it was 2 years ago we had Stephen Fisk on our player panel for our Pro-Am cocktail party. Stephen Fisk is now won twice on the PGA Tour, and nothing against Stephen because he's super talented. But if you said, coming out of his year earning his tour card, what are the betting odds on Stephen Fisk getting 2 wins in his first 2 years? I mean, it had to be astronomical. And again, like I spent some time with Stephen, he's a great dude. But again, I just think these guys are so talented right now. Obviously a lot of changes with the PGA Tour right now, but I think ultimately you've got an incredibly group of talented people and anybody can win any week. Johnny, I think is super talented. He's found a way to do some really good stuff, played great in Scotland last week. And then, even a guy like Harry Hall, Harry Hall beat out, local star Nick Hardy when he won in 2022. Is that right? 22 in a playoff. And we had tons of people rooting for Nick and unfortunately he didn't get it done, but Harry won. And then, Harry won, ISCO just a few years ago. So these guys are just ready to compete at the highest level immediately. And it's something I think, we haven't seen it as much as recently. And even with, sorry, I'm rambling a little bit, but, even the guys on PGA Tour U that are getting a chance to come on to the Korn Ferry Tour and even from the number one spot on the PGA Tour, these guys are ready to compete immediately. And it just speaks to the level of talent across the game of golf right now.
Yeah, see, some people say that it's even harder to win on the Korn Ferry Tour than on the PGA Tour because the scores have to be so low, and these courses are not easy. I mean, how would you compare a Korn Ferry Tour setup with the PGA Tour setup?
I think ultimately I think the setups are similar. I think what you see between the PGA Tour and the Korn Ferry Tour is that the golf courses are just a little bit. I think that clubs have, where the tour has a little bit more, I don't know if you want to call it leverage with PGA Tour, just because of who you're able to promote. Like you get to go to what I would say are some more notable golf courses on the PGA Tour, and I think you have the ability to set them up a little bit more difficult. The Glen Club here, it's 7,300 yards. The fairways are pretty generous. There's fescue, but again, like the guys that are playing good aren't hitting it in the rough, aren't hitting they're hitting in the fairway, and they're hitting on the green and making a lot of putts. I think I think golf courses on the Korn Ferry Tour are a little bit more gettable, just based on the places that they play and kind of where they can sign up. But if you're going down a from top to bottom, PGA Tour is going to get some of the best places to play. PGA Tour Champions is going to be up there, and then kind of the Korn Ferry Tour. I think you've got more of a limited selection on where you play, but I think ultimately it's tough. I mean, it's certainly hard. I think you're 100% spot on that. I think it can be harder to win on the Korn Ferry Tour just because if you go out and shoot 68, you've lost shots on the field. Whereas if you
Crazy.
shoot 68 in a PGA Tour event, it's a pretty good day. So but that's the thing too. I think you see it on the Korn Ferry Tour where it's like you may have a guy with a 2 or 3 shot lead on Sunday, and it's just not safe. I know he didn't win, but Christian Moss, the Texas alum last week, I think it was last week, shot like 62 or 63 on the last round. And so when you can come back, you just never feel like if you're within 6, 7 shots, the way these guys play, you're never really out of it. And I think it certainly sets up for some fireworks on Sunday.
The Glen Club is a public course, and for Father's Day, I got a gift card for my dad for him and I to play. So I'm excited to play the course this summer at some point. So
Yeah.
for people who have played the course, what differences will they see now that it's up for a Korn Ferry tournament course? What will be some of the differences that people might notice?
Yeah, I think ultimately some of the big things you're gonna, obviously these guys are gonna play it all the way back. There's certainly a little bit more length for the professionals, and I think your normal Saturday golfer will play. But I think ultimately greens are gonna be in really good shape. I think that's one of the things that the players really like about this golf course is that the greens are always in very good shape, and I think it's just it's a nod to Adam Wiles, who's the golf course superintendent, and his team for what they do. This golf course gets a ton of play. It is packed all the time.
Hmm.
I had a sponsor reach out about a round of golf this week, and they reached out about 2 weeks ago, and they said, "Hey, can we play early on Thursday?" And so I reached out to Ethan, the head golf professional. He said the earliest I can do is 4:10. So
No way.
so it just speaks to how much plays out here. But the golf course is always in really good shape. I think if we can dodge some weather this weekend, and it continues to get fast and firm, that the golf course will play a little bit more difficult than it normally does. But the guys will, the tour will come in and kind of analyze the condition of the golf course. I think we'll probably mow rough for the last time on Saturday or Sunday of this weekend, and then just kind of let it go for the week. And it never gets crazy long. But again, the guys that are winning are not hitting it in the rough. And I think that's something where, people always get worked up about course setup. It's, hey, the rough's not very long or whatever it may be. And, ultimately it's the guys that are going to win are the guys that are in the fairway all week. So, I think you can see probably see faster greens, maybe some more difficult hole locations than you might normally see on a day-to-day basis. And, I think the rough is probably going to be a little bit longer than it normally is, for your normal players out here. But, ultimately these guys are going to go out and play a golf course. It's very, very similar to what you can play here in Chicago, which I think is pretty special.
Yeah, and going back to the foundation, I was looking at the universities, and I actually went to Northwestern University once, and it's amazing, like the facilities and the academic level. And I was like, man, these caddies are getting the full treatment right here.
Yeah, it's I think one of the cool parts about the program is that we have houses at all of our universities that the caddies live in, and typically they're co-ed, which allows these people to kind of live together and create a sense of community. They all have jobs within the houses, but it's I can't tell you how many times I meet somebody. Hey, where'd you go to college? I went to Michigan State, or I went to Iowa or whatever it is. And, hey, what do you do? I work for the Western Golf Evans. Oh, we had an Evans Scholars house that I knew a bunch of the kids that were in that house. And, so I think it's, they make an impression kind of on kind of what they do within the community, and kind of the lasting impression that they have within the universities and whatnot. So it's certainly a cool program. I joke around. I tell people I have one of the coolest jobs in the world, running a professional golf event. It's a ton of fun. You get to meet a lot of really cool people, and I feel very fortunate. But the impact that our events make, and what we're trying to do in terms of sending more caddies to college, and when I can see the impact that we make from the proceeds, like that's what makes our job really special.
For people who
Yeah,
are
we
interested, go ahead,
uh,
Fernando.
sorry, I was gonna say that we had a friend who caddied for me at a tournament here at the Mexican Amateur a few years ago here in Mexico, and so I saw that you have a comprehensive guide to how to caddy. I'm gonna send it to him.
There you go. There you go. No, that's awesome.
Hopefully he knows. Chris, yeah, for anybody who wants to know more about what a tournament director does, what are some of the things that you have to do leading up to the tournament, and then what are some of the things that you'll be doing during the week of the tournament and the tournament itself, in your role, and just give some people some information on if they're ever interested in doing something like that, what they need to do and what kind of the responsibilities are.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's again, it's a super fun job. I've been very fortunate to be in it for a number of years now. But essentially, I would say 80-90% of my job is sales related. I'm out trying to sell corporate hospitality, pro-am groups, sponsorship opportunities. With the rebranding of the tournament, the Evans Scholars Invitational, we are currently in the process of trying to find partners for the event, kind of similar to what you see with the Players Championship or the Tour Championship. So rather than look for a title sponsor, we're actually looking to keep the Evans Scholars name on the event and look for proud partners to support kind of the financial side of the event. But a lot of sales and promotion of the event. We want to try to get people to the event. We're trying to get more sponsors. We've got 2 pro-ams, one on Monday, one on Wednesday, that we're trying to sell out. I have a sales guy that works for the team. We also have Mike is his name. Mike does a fantastic job for us. I have another gentleman, Mitchell. Mitchell oversees our operations for the event, so he's kind of responsible for everything outside the ropes. So I work very closely with him. Kate, who handles volunteers for the event, and then we have those are kind of my 3 kind of what I would say full-time people that help with the event. And then our tournament team is 16, 17 people deep, and most of them are focused full-time on the BMW Championship, but they help support the event here at the Glen Club as well. So kind of just overseeing everything that happens. I manage our relationship with the tour. I manage the relationship with the club. I would say I spend a lot of time with those 2 entities during tournament week. And then obviously spend a lot of time with our organization, kind of making sure that we're promoting the Evans Scholars in the proper way on the golf course. But I would say ultimately, like, the short version of it is I'm trying to promote this event and sell this event. And then obviously overseeing everything to make sure that all of our constituents, whether it's spectators, sponsors, volunteers, whoever it is, are happy throughout the week and that they have a great time during the week. So and then again, just managing our relationship with the club and the tour. And then there's a lot of vendors and partners that they may have activations or different things that are going on during the week, and we're just making sure that those things are going smoothly.
Yeah, and you guys have done such a great job that a lot of your scholars are really successful in their fields, and they can help you back in a way. Like CEOs of some companies who like to
Yeah,
partner with you.
it's those kids are the cream of the crop. I mean, it's. Oh, sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, no, no. Sorry, it was the internet.
No, all good. Yeah, we've got, again, I think one of the cool things that's happened within our organization is we have developed a career services program where what we found out is that there's so many companies out there that have realized that the scholars coming out of college, we have like a 98%, graduation rate. They are graduating. I think our GPA right now is like, our average GPA is like 3.4, something like that. I mean, it's very, very high. And companies are realizing that these kids are awesome candidates for internships and postgraduate jobs. So we've started a program internally within the organization where companies can be a part of our career services program and have access to these kids, have an opportunity to present, some continued education, introduce people to different fields and things of that nature. But again, I think it kind of just speaks to the caliber of individual that earns this scholarship, and they're driven, they're very smart, they're engaged within their communities, and I think they pick up a lot of really, really good people skills through caddying. So when these kids come out of college, there's a long list of companies and people that want them to come work for them.
Korn Ferry Tour definitely week to week, so we don't know the entire field yet. But for people seeing this interview who are going out, who are some names that have been winning this year that people might be able to see or should look out for?
Yeah, absolutely. So we, I haven't looked at the field list. I should be a little bit more prepped on it. But Doc Redman, number one on the points list. Doc's a guy that's been around for a little while. I think coming out of college, I think people thought he would be, he was kind of a shoe in to be. And obviously, he's won a couple times here on the Korn Ferry Tour, so I think he's certainly somebody to take a look at. Blades Brown is going to be in the field, 18-year-old kid's a stud. So I'm really
Yeah.
looking forward to seeing him play in person. Yeah, and then
We love
what
Blades
I
on
was
we
just
love
I
Blades on
kind
the
of say,
show. Yeah.
oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's I was just exchanging emails with his agent about his family coming into town and a couple things. So yeah, I'm excited to have Blades in town. They were asking, we have courtesy cars for the top 20 players, and they were calling to see if there was an age limit. So I said, no, Blades is good as long as he's 18. So then you got James Nicholas, a guy that I think has had a tremendous social media following
He's the
over
best.
the course of a long period of time. We've got a number of Western Am winners in the field. Jace Sumi, who won last year at North Shore. Jace, was it North Shore last year? Maybe the year before. Anyways, Jace won last year, and Jace got in through PGA Tour U, so he got into the field through PGA Tour U. Ian Gilligan, who won a couple years ago, is in the field. Trying to think, we've got one other one, but again, it's hard to throw out a bunch of names. There's certainly some old names that you'll see on there. Guys have been playing for a long time, but again, there's just so much talent out here. It's whether it's with the pro am or people just coming out and following groups, things like that. I continue to get stories about people that are like, hey, I played in the pro am with Cam Young, and it's like I didn't know who Cam Young was before, but now I know, and I have this really cool memory of being able to play golf with Cam Young before anybody knew I like saying it's like seeing the band before they were big. I don't know if I said that before, but you have all these stories. It was like, oh, I saw such and such band before anybody knew who they were in a smoky bar with 50 people, and it's like, that's kind of how the Korn Ferry Tour is. It's, you get a chance to see it. I mean, there was a number of years. I remember, again, people knew Scottie was good. He was obviously highly touted out of college and whatnot, but we had a sponsor back in 2019 that we hooked up to play with Scottie in the Pro-Am. And for a number of years, that guy would send me an email. Anytime Scottie would kind of do something good, he's like, I still can't believe I got to play with Scottie. And it's, it was,
Wow.
years ago, I had worked on another event, and the guy played with Ben Griffin in a Pro-Am, and the next year he won on the PGA
Amazing.
Tour. So it's like, again, like there's just so much possibility in terms of, like, you could follow a kid that you never know who he is, and then like a year later you're going to see that name pop up at the top of a leaderboard and be like, hey, I followed that guy, or I played with that guy in the Pro-Am. And I just think I think the Korn Ferry Tour is such a cool way to introduce people, because, like, again, everybody knows who Scottie is now, everybody knows who Rory is, Justin Rose, all these big names, like, they all started somewhere. And to be able to see where they started up close and personal, much smaller crowds, being able to see them super close before, you're going to go see him at the Open Championship this week and follow 30,000-40,000 people following him around. It's a little bit more difficult to see than when you get to see these guys before they become big. So I just think it's a super memorable experience. I'm kind of humbled to be a part of it, every year, and I just think it's a great way to see some really, really cool talent. I think it's great for the kids. I mean, I think I mentioned we're going to have some really fun stuff with the kids in our kids zone, and a lot of different games and some putting mats and some arts and crafts and things of that nature. So if you've got kids, bring them out. You're gonna have a kids zone on the back patio of the clubhouse. But I also think, like, if you've got a kid that's interested in golf, like, this is a really cool way to bring them out to the golf tournament, go hang out on the range, watch these guys practice, because I think there's so many times where kids want to get good, and, like, this is a way to be like, these are some of the best players in the world, and, like, look how they practice, look how they hit. Like, if they hit a bad shot, watch how they react. We get so many kids now, they hit a bad shot, they want to throw a club, they want to break a club. It's like, watch these guys and how they carry themselves on the golf course. And because it's such a smaller we have such smaller crowds, and what you see on a PGA Tour, like, it's easy to maneuver around and move around and go find a spot to post up, watch these guys come through. And again, if you got a kid that's interested in golf, like, you can't think of a better way to say, hey, like, this is what it takes. And again, too, I think they're just like, they're working, but I think they're more apt to sign an autograph, shake a hand, talk to a kid, whatever it may be. so again, I just think it's a great thing for friends, families, golf fans. It's a great week. So I know I'm rambling,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. And
Golfers are the best. Actually, behind me, I have a Doc Redman signed ball that he gave me in Cabo when I volunteered there. He's such a
very
nice guy.
cool.
And I'm
Very
rooting for
cool.
Alvaro Ortiz this week. Obviously, he won recently at the Korn Ferry, and he's a U.S. amateur champion, just like Chick Evans.
Yep, absolutely.
And Blaze Brown, 18 years old, so not much older than some of the kids that might be going out there at the tournament this weekend. And already splitting his time between the PGA Tour and the Korn Ferry Tour, and played in the final round with Scottie already this year when Scottie won back at the Amex. So there's some high caliber golfers out there for sure. Chris, last thing here, where can people just go for more info if they don't know about the tournament, and where they can find more information about if they want to go out there next weekend?
Yeah, we've got a lot of info posted up on our website, esinvitational.com. And then I would say on most social handles, we are at esinvite. So great places to come check us out. But again, I hope you come out. Again, we're excited to provide complimentary admission thanks to BCU. Thursday is our family fun day, but our kids activity, our kids zone is going to be open all week, but we're going to have a couple special activities on Thursday throughout the day. And then again, yoga on the green Saturday morning. So
Yoga.
hopefully we get some people out there doing some stretching. We're going to do it right in front of 18 green on the fairway, which I think will be really cool. So we're going to run an hour-long class. It's free, and we hope you come out and check it out. But yeah, come on out, enjoy some awesome golf, enjoy some fun times. It's a really cool event. We're proud to have it be a part of the kind of the Chicago landscape for the summer, and I think it's going to be a great week. So I appreciate you guys having me on, and look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Chris, thank you for coming on. We're excited to go. We're excited to be there. And if you're finding this interview and you want to see our content, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We'll have all our content there next week, the coverage from the tournament. And we also have our golf podcast as well every week here, Tap and Eagle. We talked about the Open Championship a couple of days ago, and now it's on now as we're recording this interview. So we'll see who wins. You can go check out our picks as well. We'll see how they're doing. But Chris, we appreciate you coming on. We'll see you out there next week.
Sounds
Thank
great,
you,
guys.
Chris.
Have a great day. We'll see you next week.
See you.